Hey guys, hope you're well. Forgive me for the dark composition of the video, but I did want to give my thoughts about the latest hearing with DOA for him trying to get his ankle monitor off. Of course, that was unsuccessful. So we'll talk a little bit about that and what material was tried to, what material seemed to be used. So again, I was not there. Sources are faulty. DOA, Becky, you kind of figure out, meet in the middle, figure out what the actual reality of the situation was. But it seems like the reality is very clear. DOA, without an attorney, showed up to court, tried to get the charges dropped. That was not successful. This was for his felony case. And the other thing he tried to do was get his ankle monitor removed. He was also not successful in that, which is somewhat surprising. And what it shows is that the DA is very specifically invested in this case. If it were something minor, and a lot of people think what DOA is facing is ultimately somewhat minor in the grand scheme of felonies, if they didn't have a special desire to want to try to prosecute it, they probably wouldn't deeply oppose or even collect evidence when the defendant is asking to get the ankle monitor taken off. The fact that they were so aggressive as the DA was at the hearing in making sure that DOA kept his ankle monitor on means that they're really invested in seeing this through and probably are not interested in offering DOA any sort of plea deal. The main information that was used to deny DOA the ankle monitor is a clip that he said only a week ago where he said he would get out of LA if he didn't have his ankle monitor. Now, he only said LA. He didn't say he would go to Mexico. He didn't say he'd go to a different state. He didn't say anything like that. But he did say he would leave at least LA. So that was held and used against him. And Becky remarked that she was talking, and I never no harm in her doing that. Becky remarked that she was, hey, I got a nice little bit of light. Becky remarked that she was talking with the DA, giving him evidence. And what's interesting is that the DA has taken Becky's evidence seriously. Before, I always wondered how much relevancy would there be of DOA attacking, or not even attacking, but kind of being hostile towards Becky outside of court. How relevant would that be? Would that make any sort of a difference? And I didn't think it would make really that much difference at all. But apparently that was used in court, and part of the aspect of making sure that his bail isn't violated, the judge specifically talked about cyberbullying, that DOA had cyberbullied people, and that was and that violating that would be a revocation of his bail. So before, him accosting Becky and accosting others online didn't necessarily matter, but now it's considered part of the bail conditions. The judge officially said that. And another thing is the judge shot down DOA's arguments that everybody is connected to Scientology. One of a defamatory accusation that DOA made against Rib Guy, for example. DOA said he was a Scientologist. He did admit in court that Rib Guy was not a Scientologist. So his argument of this is a conspiracy and that people are working to get him in jail, which has some validity, but they're two different sides, right? But then his bigger argument is not only it's a conspiracy, but it's all a Scientology conspiracy. It's not just one side that dislikes him because he's been unkind to some people on that side. It's that the other side is Scientology, and that Scientology is interrupting him from his right of freedom of press, of his right to be an independent journalist, of his right to be free in general. That's not the case, and he kind of admitted that in court, which was interesting, kind of spoke volumes. Again, and he didn't have an attorney the entire time. Now, if he had an attorney, it might have gone differently. The attorney might have said, listen, there's not a really... Yes, he has to stay in the state for the ankle monitor, but there's nothing beyond that saying he has to stay in the state. He wants to go to New Mexico because it's more affordable there. He showed up at every hearing. He has the ability to do that. He will fly in and out, but he wants to go somewhere else for a more affordable place, and therefore he shouldn't have the ankle monitor. Because the ankle monitor keeps him in the state of California, but I don't think there's anything specifically that needs to keep him, stipulation aside from the ankle monitor that says he needs to stay in the state. There is a stipulation saying he cannot visit other Scientology buildings, whether it be in California or in other states. But the lawyer could have made the argument. But right now, because of the ankle monitor's requirements, DOA has to stay within the state of California. Something that wasn't used, which might be used in the future, is that Chi, who has connections in Mexico, in various chats more than once was eagerly offered a place for DOA to stay in Mexico. If I were DOA, I would have ran to Mexico quite some time ago. Obviously, he has not. But then there's also that bit of concern as well. If he made it to Mexico, he'd be very successful. The case, he would have a warrant, but the case would be too minor to get him probably transported. Oh, sorry, he's friendly. Dog saying hello. Hey, chill. Sorry, the video's being interrupted. Anyway, dog just wanted to say hi, and then people got scared. I completely lost my train of thought. I'm petting my dog right now, which is unfortunate. Well, sorry, guys. I might have to re-record this video, unfortunately. We were talking about California. Right, so Mexico. So what would happen with Mexico is that, yes, there'd be a warrant, and if he left and didn't show up to court, there would be a warrant to even instruct to have him been taken over across the border. But then the Mexican police would have to contact somebody out in Los Angeles, and that person in Los Angeles would have to give approval, and they would almost assuredly say it's not worth the effort. That would be if worse comes to worse. The other thing that would happen if the police looked up DOA's record and had some sort of encounter with him in Mexico, he could probably pay them $200 to pretend this encounter never happened. So that would be the wise thing, but it doesn't look good for the doesn't look good for DA, and the prosecutors might have this later in their back pocket of, okay, he has a place he could stay in Mexico. He's thought out loud about going there. That's different than just going to a different state. That's actually leaving the country, which implies that he is planning on escaping. I don't think he is, but that's what they could use. So yeah, that's essentially what happens. We'll have the subsequent hearing later on. I won't go to that. I only go to the actual trial things. But I would say it doesn't look good. The DA is invested for him to have his ankle monitor remain on. It did so remain on. If they didn't care about this case, or if it was one of hundreds, they wouldn't put up much of a fight. But the fact that they took evidence in is not good for DOA, and it also indicates that they are taking Becky seriously. They are taking what Rib Guy says seriously. So I would say his case is looking worse now than it did before he had this hearing. Take from that what you will. All right, guys, I will see you down the road. I'm going to cover an ICE protest, which will be interesting on Thursday. Cover some more Luigi Mangione things. Cover the sentencing as well for Diddy as well. So there'll be a few different things. But I'll have some news. And later on, probably tomorrow, I'll have some interesting news about the Nora ZDT lawsuit. Take care. Bye-bye.